Yo, welcome back to the project, and we're finally making it to what I said 2 videos ago. The tweets for gaming, for science, and for a beautiful amalgamation of science and gaming, just like this project is an amalgamation of virtual, slice of life, and real, in real life, genuine, authentic responsibilities. Alright, so respite shelter, all that jazz. Let's just dive right into it. We're not gonna go through all the introductory stuff. You can check that out in the bio. You'll get the understanding. So we have probably about 8 tweets to cover. You can consider this to be a reaction video. I think that's what I'm going to brand. By the time this video is listed, I'm pretty sure I'm going to put reacts in the title because that's what it is. We're just, reacting to some tweets that we saw that really took and captured our interest. Okay. So these show up on the feed usually after we try to upload a video. And I'm trying to slow myself down because I just punched out 5 videos back to back. Alright. So the first tweet we have here is from an old school retro game that I used to play. And old school is literally actually inside the name. It's called Old School Runescape. I know it's pretty lame, but it's something that, I think is pretty cool. I used to be that. I used to really love this stuff. I was one of those called skillers and a free player. So over here, what I like to do at the time for at least until the past couple of years, I used to read on the updates, and I haven't been doing that as of late. So it's always nice to see something like this pop up in the feed, and it just brings back a lot of really fond memories. I do want to get back into this game eventually on the project. But of course, it's just down the pipeline. There's a lot of stuff that's of higher priority. So you can see here, this is directly from the old school RuneScape feed, and it popped up in my feed, and it says, "Are you ready to harness ancient powers with the Desert Treasure 2?" That's a very old quest, rewards beta. Test out a new weapon, upgrades armor, but clearly they're continuing the quest line from an old series. This is for the gamers out there, by the way. This is obviously, I know there's probably going to be a big mixture of people who pop into my channel since it's such a broad, generalized thing. It's a variety channel, even though I know I'm not supposed to do variety stuff starting out, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. Consider it a challenge that I'm accepting. So challenge accepted. We're going to start a channel. We're going to start a variety channel. That's impossible to do. It's really bad marketing. It's really bad for the algorithm, but we're going to push through it. It's like we just enjoy it, and it's also a good challenge. So test out a new. We're gonna do the impossible. I remember there was that's a quote from one of those Bionic shows I used to watch way back when I was in like middle school. There was this anime called a Gundam, not Gundam Seed, but Gundam Seeds actually. Sorry, and someone ends up dying in there, and he says, I told you I could make the impossible possible before dying a very valiant and heroic death. But that's a real throwback, right? This is really bringing back a lot of memories, just reading this old school thing. So we've got the first few changes on Pulse 79. So one of the great things about this game and the team, the developers of this game, is that they allow the players to get involved and vote for the changes that they would like added to the game. So new content, whether or not there's feedback, whether or not they did some balancing changes that were not well received, so on and so forth. I can't say that they do a great job all the time. There's always a lot of controversy around stuff like that, but of course they're trying their very best. Sometimes they are really out of touch, but it's as far as I'm concerned, they're doing a way better job today than they used to. Say like 15 years ago, they were absolutely atrocious, and now they're like very much engaged with the community, even though sometimes their judgment is kind of off. It's just a difficult thing to do. All right, you can see here 150k views, really popping off. Game update is a Desert Treasure 2 rewards beta. I don't know what this is. I don't know why it popped up in my feed, but it just did. We have this. Oh, we know why, because we followed the account. Next, we have transit alerts. What a segue, right? We just went from gaming over to transit. So of course, transit alerts I follow through, and I usually go ahead and have been exploring for the past couple of months my local region as well as further districts within my city. So that's what that's all about. I'm obviously not going to go too much into that. The reason is because if I decide to go into transit, it might disclose a little bit too much of private information. So let's just move ahead. So we have here RuneScape drama moment. So we're heading back into gaming here. And this is from a dumb girly is the tag. A cringe bitch. Okay. What the fuck? All right. Anyways, that's a fun thing about RuneScape, by the way. When you go back in the day, yeah, there were a lot of immature kids, and they were, of course, they were kids back then. But one of the great things about RuneScape players is that they're very, very unfiltered. They're very uncensored. I can't say that they're very well balanced and moderated. A lot of them have a lot of issues and they're very troubled upbringings, of course. But one thing I will say is that if you were looking for something that's not PC, play RuneScape, and you'll see a community that's very not PC. Or at least if you take the old school retro version right now. They have split into two factions right now. I don't want to go into it, but basically there's a RuneScape 3 and there's OS RuneScape. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, I do want to talk about it, but that should be for a future video. Look forward to that. So RuneScape drama moment when that lives rent-free in my head is when two girls were fighting and one subtweeted the other by saying, "I'm sorry, but I thought a bitch with no fire cape said something." And I thought this was hilarious. So, me dissing myself, lots of comments here. I should have captured my reaction to this when I first saw this, but I couldn't have done that. There was no way I could have captured it. 8 bookmarks. I thought it was hilarious again. Yeah, one subtweeted there by saying, "I'm sorry, but I thought a bitch with no fire cape said something." Again, non-PC stuff here. I recognize this might remove this current podcast episode from Spotify because there's some words here that I probably shouldn't have mentioned, but whatever. Okay, moving on. This is also RuneScape gaming related, so 40,000 hours, 40k hours of RuneScape in one single picture at DreamHack. So it's very short and sweet. It's only about 10 words. And you can see these photos, great photo shots of, it's interesting, right? Because they don't look like the traditional, we've all grown up at this point, right? So what you can see is like, basically these are people who used to be in their in their basement playing this really retro game and getting really deep in on the details. And you can see now they have this really professional setup, like how far they've come, right? There's a desk here, there's a podcasting mic, there's 4 of them, they're all, well put together, t-shirts, they've fought they used to be troubled kids, right? A lot of these guys used to be like screaming into their mics and stuff, but it was entertaining. They were good entertainers for sure. And, really fun stuff. I know that's someone I care deeply about. He really actually loves that kind of content growing up. And I can say that I have my mind's been open thanks to this person. So I came to appreciate that kind of stuff and comedy specifically because of that. Anyways, the point is you can see all the guys here are all grown up here and they're all having a good time. And it's very professional. There's a setup here. The guys are sitting outside, gamers outside, touch grass meme, under this little parasol, and they're by what looks like to be, I don't know. This game is HQ'd in Cambridge, London, or Cambridge, UK. But of course, there are a lot of players across the globe in North America and so on and so forth. So the guys are sitting here by a bench, not a bench, but along the seating ledge. And in the backdrop, you can see a beautiful landscape behind them. Looks like a port, and maybe it's like along the shore. So they have a few photographs of this. It's just showing how far things have come since the days when, we were using the game as a copium. And you can see here, right, there they go. RSGF in real life, RL. Anyways, we have a bunch of guys here, and they tweeted this, and we can go down here and take a look at the comments. Know for a fact that Jake Sucky is freaking out internally in that interview. Oh my god, RuneScape people, why is 8 a.m. so hot, and all that stuff. All right, so that's another tweet down for the gaming stuff. Okay, now we're hopping over to sports. So this also caught my attention in the feed because I thought it was very wholesome, and it's not a lot that when you hop over to Twitter, I usually hide. I don't go to Twitter for anything other than to upload the tweets, clearly for business related affairs or the project related matters. But if you ever do hop over to Twitter, once in a while you do get to see a very wholesome tweet, right? So this one popped up here from Jürgen Klopp. Sounds like a German name, a Dutch name. So he's quoted, "I know in a world with social media, Everybody can express emotions in an instant. There will be a lot of negative comments, and I understand that, but the people in the stadium so far have been absolutely incredible. I want to read that a second time. I know in a world with social media, everyone can express emotions in an instant. There will be a lot, and I'm going to switch scenes, right? There will be a lot of negative comments, and I understand that. But the people in the stadium so far, in real life, who I know face to face in person, have been absolutely incredible. And then Ben here, I guess he's a player from the same. So this is a coach, basically. I'm not sure for what. Maybe it's the NFL, maybe it's for football, maybe it's for baseball. I don't know what it is. Maybe, I don't know. Could even be, it seems like this guy can see his breath. The coach is, you can see the cold breath, so they're definitely outside. But definitely there's the sports player is, the athlete is saying, or well, no, sorry, not the sports athlete, says, Ben, admin and podcast host on the Anfield Talk. All opinions are his own. So we love you, boss. You deserve our support. So basically a fan here is just supporting the coach and what he's been through. I'm assuming that's probably because they had a failure. So they lost the game or lost a match. But, it's a very wholesome thing, because definitely that's one of the concerns that we've had for a long time about social media, is that people just really harass. And there was that period a couple of years back, a while ago, when cancel culture was actually a thing. It's pretty much gone now, but back then cancel culture was a thing, and this is very relevant to that. So I figured this was very wholesome, and I figured I wanted to mention this. It's not related to gaming at all. It's a different segue. Down here it says, what I've always said. So here's some comments. Darkstar69 says, what I've always said, the smallest percentage of LFC Twitter does not represent the proper supporters. But the same people also go to the games. Great coach. He's clearly on FT. That's a fair remark, right? Some of the same people here who don't like the coach actually go to the games. So it's like some of the same people who spew hate comments on social media are also the same people who actually go in person. So everyone's got access to devices, right? He has a Twitter account that no one knows about. It's a laughing joke. Anyways, so that was a wholesome tweet. And then we got two more tweets here. So we're segueing from gaming into sports over to analytics and now into science. So this is Sleep Research Society. Study suggests that tau tangles, not amyloid plaques. And I'll just give some brief context. So I actually I followed an account for Sleep Research Society. And this was about 4 or 5 years ago when I was in this kind of self-improvement journey. And I was having a very, very difficult time getting enough sleep because I had such a packed list of activities in my rudimentary morning routine. I call them rudimentary, and the reason for that is because it truly was rudimentary. You're not supposed to have a morning routine that has so many activities that you can't sustain it. Obviously, you want to do something that is sustainable and can last over time. So there was just a beginning phase. That was like 4, 5, 6 years ago. And I wasn't getting enough sleep. On top of that, I was, going to work at a variety of different companies, and it was very difficult to make the schedule work out. So I was not getting enough sleep. And so one of the things I saw on the feed, and at the time I was a big psychology nerd at the time. I was totally into cognitive science, into philosophy of mind, and that stuff like that. So when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia, to be honest, by the way, I feel like someone in this household right now has dementia. A little rip on that kind of stuff. Call that out. All right. But anyways, Sleep Research Society here. Study suggests tau tangles, not amyloid plaques, drive daytime napping that precedes dementia. Read it slower one more time. Study suggests that tau tangles, not amyloid plaques, drive daytime napping that precedes dementia. So if we go down here, Alzheimer's disease destroys neurons that keep us awake. UCSF scientist shows that Alzheimer's disease directly attacks brain regions responsible for wakefulness during the day. So we can follow through with this article and go ahead, and then you can see all the comments here. 29 retweets, 53, 52 likes, whatever. And let's see the comments here at the below. Click on the tweet, and it says, what's here? Thanks. The only thing I posted was thanks. Below we have, so napping is a sign of brain troubles. Wow, this is really groundbreaking science. Okay. Anyways, this is just scientific stuff. stuff that maybe might be boring for you, but was really interesting for me. So Alzheimer's disease destroys neurons that keep us awake. Studies suggest tau tangles, not amyloid plaques, drive daytime napping that precedes dementia, and blah-de-da. Researchers and caregivers have noted that excessive daytime napping can develop long before the memory problems associated with Alzheimer's disease begin to unfold. Prior studies have considered this excessive daytime napping to be compensation for poor nighttime sleep caused by Alzheimer's-related disruptions in sleep-promoting brain regions, while others have argued that the sleep problems of themselves contributed to the progression of the disease. But for now, UC, Stanford, San Francisco scientists have provided a striking new biological explanation for this phenomenon. I'm speaking too close to the mic, I feel like. For this new phenomenon, showing instead that Alzheimer's disease directly attacks brain regions responsible for wakefulness during the day. So they have a new mechanism, a new biological explanation. I think that's really neat, really cool. And, if you're interested, you can read this article, UCSF, so University of California, San Francisco, special notice about COVID-19. All right, good stuff. So you can see here in microscope slide, this really throws me back again. Back when I was in the lab, third, fourth year, this is a nervous tissue, a little bit of histology coming back to me. Tissue from the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease showing increased tau protein buildup, which are these brown spots, and fewer neurons, which are red, compared to healthy tissue, illustrating how Alzheimer's pathology drives selective loss of wakefulness, promoting neurons in those regions. Credit Grinberg Lab, UCSF. All right, last tweet. Oh, okay. So this is back to gaming. We go back full circle. Ian. This could be one of the brothers, but I don't think so. So basically, there are the three Gower brothers who started up this old school game called Runescape way back in 1998. Back then, we now call it Runescape Classic, or RSC for short. I don't think this is the same Ian, but anyways, that's what it reminded me of. So I decided to save this link here. It's a very interesting and mature way to end some conflict. I don't know what this is all about. It seems like there's some underlying drama. Don't really want to dive into it. I'm so sick of drama, and I try to avoid it pretty much. That's what I do. I just I stay in the booth and I just work. Ignore and avoid. So hey guys, as you're aware, I haven't been live this weekend because my team and I have been discussing recent events. I don't know what the events are. I'm not going to check it out. Ununanimously, we have decided to disband the GHCIM, which stands for, I don't know what the G stands for, but the HCIM stands for a certain game mode in old school RuneScape called Hardcore Iron Man, as of right now. So that much I do know. Recent events are unacceptable, and it doesn't feel right for us to continue things as they are. No, I am still good friends with everybody, and I do not want to see any hate targeted towards anybody. I trust that we are all mature enough to move forward and be respectful. I wish respect was something I could find in this household. It sucks for all of us involved in this, as genuinely been the most fun I had on stream, and OSRS forever. I'll be live again tomorrow, considering continuing with my old HCIM. So we want to distinguish apparently between GHCIM, so G Hardcore Iron Man, and a regular Hardcore Iron Man. For the record, both of these game modes are incredibly stressful games to play. I am not playing because it is such a taxing thing. Basically, if you die, you lose everything, and then there's all these applied stressors. Not stressors, that's the wrong way to put it. I'm framing it in terms of like a mental health thing. Applied factors that make the gaming more challenging. So it's a more challenging game mode. Like think of like survival game mode, right? And long story short, there's these different versions, and I'm assuming that what this person has done is that they've created a series that makes this very challenging mode even more challenging than it already was. And I think something happened during the how do you call it, the progression of the series. There was probably some conflict that happened, and that's disappointing, but that's a factor. That is a fact of life. So which is in a similar point where we are leaving the GHCIM, we move forward. A little throwback to Attack on Titan quote. Anyways, I love you all. Thank you for your understanding. I appreciate all the support and growth we received as a stream and community, especially lately. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm feeling very blessed and grateful to have you all. Thank you. And the heart and a little ghost there. And that's it for all the tweets. Thank fucking God. I had to censor myself there just right now. Thank God, because I do have to censor myself, I recognize, because I'm being broadcast into platforms now that will have censorship over language. So unfortunately, I can't be as free as I wanted to be as I was on the YouTube videos. If you want things uncut and raw, though, you can definitely find that on Patreon. That's it. The last platform here we can probably showcase has to do with podcasting, but you know, for all intents and purposes, we'll just leave it as is. So that's it. This is a 20-minute video, it seems, just on reactions to tweets. Thanks for tuning in. The next one is going to be reaction to an actual show and a group of guys, the boys, watching a show on Stugek, and we are trying to play the catch-up game with them. So we're going to punch out at least one reaction every single day to them, if not more. What's been holding us back has been a lot of obligations, specifically with getting the project up and running with the podcasts. So all this behind the scenes type videos, all these in real life and IRL type vlog videos and podcasts have been getting in the way. We're trying to get over to the reaction. So look forward to that in the next one, right here on Spotify or on iTunes or wherever you're listening from, as well as over on the YouTube channel if that's where you're coming from. Always welcome to the respite shelter that is Project Jira. This is Rishav. I'm signing out. Thanks for tuning in with us, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.